All right. Good morning, students. Well, today is the third class presentations of what is called in Liberia and Africa tie-dyeing, but I would like to give it a more unique name. So I will refer to it as African cloth designs. So you're going to be doing tie-dyeing, like we all know, it's called tie-dyeing. And I'm going to begin with my roll call. So I'm just going to call your first names. If two people in the class share the same names, then I have to call the last name of one of you guys. I'm very excited. So far, the last class, you guys are so smart. You have been doing great with your training, your professors, your trainers, your program directors, and all those who are contributing and making sure you, our young ladies, learned the needed skills to become self-efficient. That means that you guys can be able to do things for yourself. Become women with pride. When you're a woman with pride, you can buy your own stuff. You are independent. You don't depend on a man to do anything for you. You don't need nobody to do anything for you. You choose a man based on your feeling for him, not because he's a breadwinner, not because he provides for you. That's something that I yield to empower young women to be able to have self-preservation of themselves and respect and dignity of themselves. You don't need a college degree to be able to survive in this world. You need to have a skill that you are master at, you're good at, and you work hard towards it, and it will, trust me, it will work for you. So I want again to say thank you to you guys for being in class. We begin. It's Pinky in the class. Victoria 4, are you there? Or Rita, Noah, Nadi, Married, Maliad, Krubel, Kent. I like to call her last name because the first name is kind of a little bit Kent Zize, Janet, Diamond, Felicia's is Felicia in the class, and I have Felicia Dixon and Felicia Moses. So we have two Felicias, and then we have Victoria Nipo. So Victoria, we had two Victoria. We have Victoria Ford and Victoria Nipo. We have Wilhelmina, Rebecca, Sarah, Annie. And I heard that you guys have new students in the class. So if you're just a new student, you started new, I will ask your director to give me an update of the list of students that are new in the class. So today we are going to be doing a different kind of designing. Last class we talked about folding your cloth, sketching on your cloth on the bazan, and tracing the stitch with the needle so you can tie it tight and be able to do make a design like the diamond eye, the diamond shaped. That's what we did last week, or the last class you had. So today I'm going to be going into a different kind of design. This design, you do not really need no thread. You're not going to be sewing with a needle. You're not going to be tracing with a needle. What you are going to be doing is you are going to be taking the print of a list. So a list is something like this. So this is a list. Here is a list. So you know the list, people sew lists, sew the beautiful list. So I'm going to show you a picture of a list right on your screen so you can see the picture of a list. I'll be right with you. Okay guys, let me show you a picture of your list. So if you look on the screen there, you have this picture behind me. You see behind me here, this blue picture. That blue picture is what we're going to be doing. The blue part of this lapa or this bazan is the actual color of the bazan. The actual bazan. The center print in the middle here is the print that came out of the list. So the designer actually did a design and the print that came out of the lace is what the designer used. So that's what we're actually going to be doing today. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be actually taking the print of this bazan and you're going to be putting that on the lace. The print here, you're going to be putting it on the cloth, on the bazan, and you're going to dye it to a color of your choice. How is that done? To begin, you're going to need some few raw materials. What are raw materials? When you're cooking a palm butter, you get your raw material. You get a palm nut, or the palms. You get pepper. You get okra. You get some, I don't know if there's a cruel person in there or gribble. You know what I mean? You get the ingredients. You get a palm butter leaf. Those things are called raw material. When you cook the palm butter and that nice, beautiful palm butter is prepared, that's the end result. When you combine your raw material, it becomes an end result. The finishing product is the palm butter. So it's the same kind of thing you're going to be doing here, but just doing it differently, okay? So I'm going to show you some of your raw materials you're going to need. Your raw materials you're going to need for this designing, you're going to need, number one, or we're going to be using, number one is going to be, you see over here you have two. This one here, the first one, is the caustic soda, and then you're going to have the flour. So caustic soda and flour, that's the two things you're going to use. We're going to first, the caustic soda and the flour. How is that? How are we going to do that? We're going to take the caustic soda, the flour, make it like a fufu. You mix the flour with water, put it on the pot, put it in the pot, put it on the fire, and you're going to be stirring it. As you stir it, it's going to cook and start getting thick. As you stir it, it's going to cook and start getting thick, like you're cooking a fufu. You know, when you're cooking fufu, you're doing all the mixtures, you can get a fufu stick. That would make it better. So we're going to use that. Then we're going to put at least 2 or 3 spoons of caustic soda in the flour that is being cooked on the pot. That's going to change the color, and it's going to make the whole thing it's going to like a slam. It's going to make it a little slimy. What that's going to do is it's going to cut between it so you can spread it very perfectly well. So that's what we're going to be using. We're going to have a flour that we bake with. We're not baking bread. So we're using the flour and the caustic soda. We're going to pour the flour in the pot. We'll stir the flour as it gets cooked, and we put caustic soda in there, and the caustic soda is going to change the color. The color is going to turn yellow automatically. Now, I'm going to display how is this done. Hang in there with me. I'm going to display how is that done, okay? So watch me. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our cloth. I have a cloth here. So this cloth, I'm going to spray it on a flat surface, like a cloth, like a table. Use the ground, don't use a table. We're going to use a flat cement ground. We need a flat cement ground, no sand. If you get a taponi or a plastic sheet, spray it on the ground because you don't want no sand on it. So we're going to spray our bazan. Now we're going to get some colorful bazan now. Green, yellow, blue, different colors of bazan. We're going to spray our bazan on the ground. And you're going to take the list. You know the list when you sew the list. So I have a black list in my hands. It's so dark you can't really see the black list. But the black list actually has some flower on it. I'm going to bring it close to you. You see the flower designs? So that flower designs, that flower design is what we're going to be using. So it is that flower design we're going to be using. Let me hold this up for you. So this is the list. The list here, bring it close to the camera. So we're going to take this list and we're going to spread the list on the cloth that we spread on the ground. We spread the list on the cloth. Somebody say, but we can see you, teacher. Yes, you're going to see, okay? Spread the list on the cloth. When you spread the list on the cloth like that, after cooking our flour and mixing it up with the caustic soda, now we're going to take this here spray on the cloth. We're going to take the spoon or whatever, take the mixed flour with the custard soda and put it on there. But make sure it get cold a little bit. Don't do it while it's too hot, because what's going to happen is going to ruin the list. The list is plastic, so it's going to melt the list. You don't want to do that. You want to wait until it get a little bit cold. Then we're going to not cold, get a little bit lukewarm. We'll spray it here. I used to use the slipper. I used to find those old slipper and just cut them, and you use it to rub it like that, all over. Rub it like that. Seeing it? All over. Rubbing it like that. All over. Rubbing it like that. Rub it like that. Okay? Now, when we get done applying the chemical or this on the cloth, when we are done applying this on the cloth here, making it show it's perfectly done. Take your time. All over. Don't let it make knots. So you're going to rub it very well. This, we're going to do a practical outside to do this project. It's not project we're going to do in the classroom. I'm going to rub it up like that, very nicely. All right? Rub it up very nicely. When we are done, when you're done doing that, the next thing you're going to do is that, hold on one second for me. Where were you? Where were you? Now, when you're done doing that, what we're going to do now, watch me. Two people are going to hold the list from the end or the edge and lift it up like that from on the cloth like this. Going to lift it up. Don't just put it up. Lift it up like that. I like to fold my end as I lift my list. Fold it, keep folding it until you remove the list. Put the list, have a pot of boiled water or hot water. You can put the list right in there because we have to use it again. Not throw it away. It's material. Then one person hold the other end of the cloth. Other person hold the other end. You will see the list designs will be on the cloth now. And what we're going to do, hold it like that. One person hold one end, other person hold another end. We take this here, we'll go and put this in the sun. We're going to spread this in the sun and let it stay there for at least 1 or 2 hours. It will get dry and hard, dry and very strong. After doing that, it will be very dry and very strong. So that's what we're going to do. It will be dry and strong. So when it's get done, the next thing we're going to be doing is our dyeing process. So how is dyeing done? I know you guys have done some sewing. Now we talk about list design. The next thing we're going to be talking about is dyeing with candle. The candle where you can light in the night. Dyeing with candle. How do we dye with candle? Your director is going to buy the stamped to sell them that the carpenter would do. You can go to a carpenter, tell him to put your name on like a stamped, like a stamp paper. You can tell him to do that if you want your name to be on a lapa or on your design. How that works, same method. So you spray your cloth down on the table, or on the ground, or on a plastic sheet, because this is candle. This is candle, so you want to make sure you have a. You want to make sure. Okay, hold on for me. Let me show you how that works. All right. Now, your next design is using the candle. For the candle design, we're going to spread our cloth down flat the same old way. Now, what do you need for the candle design? You're going to need a pot or something that you're not going to cook in, or a cup or something that you can put on the fire. We're going to buy the candles, put the candle in that pot or in that cup and let it melt. When the candle melts, you can do two things. You can either get a sponge, tie the sponge on a piece of stick, tie it very well, tie the sponge on the piece of stick, put the sponge in the candle. When you put the sponge in the candle, you can now create your own design. For example, I can create a design with my candle like this. Like this. I can do that. I can do a diamond shape with my candle. Hot candle on the cloth. I can do that the same old way. I can do this. Same old way. I can write my name on the cloth with the candle. When you get done doing all of that, if somebody who's a good artist, it's called batik. This is batik. If you're a good artist, you can draw yourself. If you can draw whatever, you can draw anything you want to design, animal, whatever you want to design. You have somebody who's a good sketcher to sketch for you. You just go over it with a print with your candle, all over, all over. You get done doing that. You're gonna take this lap out. You're gonna pull it in a cold place. Now you're not gonna put it in the sun because what happened? The candle gonna melt. You're gonna pull it in a cold place for it to dry. When it dries, before conducting or doing your tie-dyeing process, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna put it in a cold place. Make sure it dry before going on with your tie-dyeing process. That is what you're gonna do. Now, one of the things I want you to understand is during the dyeing process, you have three chemicals you're going to be using. You have the ink, you have the sulfur, which is the white powder, and you have the caustic soda. The combination of those three materials is what makes a good design. You can do a perfect design, whether it is the lace design or the batik or the candle design, or you sew with your needle. What makes your design or your tie-dye lapa very attractive is the end result. So your chemical mixture is very important. If you did a stitch like you guys did last week, you did your diamond and you stitch that, you can dye this in a very hot water. But make sure to mix your dye with a very hot water. Mix the water boil. You put the hot water in the top that you're going to be doing your dyeing. This how the measurement is done. 2 spoons of dye. 2.5 spoons of the powder, which is the sulfur, and 2 spoons of caustic soda. If you want, you can do 1.5 spoons of caustic soda. The caustic soda is there to shine the cloth. The white powder keep the dye on the cloth, and the dye give you the color. The caustic soda shine the cloth. The white powder keep the dye in the cloth, and the dye give you the color. So remember that. Write this down. If you are dyeing, you put 4 spoons of dye. If you want to do you want to do a bigger lapper, 4 spoons of dye. You're gonna do 4.5 spoons of caustic of powder, 3 spoons of caustic soda. Caustic soda should be 1 spoon less than the dye, and the powder should be 1.5 spoon more than the dye. So it depends. If I did 3 spoons of dye, I should be able to do 3.5 spoons of the powder and 2.5 spoons of caustic soda. If you put too much caustic soda, what's going to happen is going to ruin the cloth. It's going to melt the cloth. Now, when you are dyeing your cloth, when you're doing your tie dyeing, after you make your hot water. Now, remember, if you are doing the lace design with the flour that you cook with the caustic soda, make sure that you mix your dye in a hot water, but leave the dye to get a little cold. It have to be lukewarm. Do not put this in a hot water. The lace design, everything will melt off and your design will spoil. So you mix the dye with cold water, with boiled water, make sure it get lukewarm. You put your little finger inside and tip it. Make sure it get lukewarm before dyeing with this two kind of design. If you use a candle, make sure you mix your color, your dye with boiled water, but let it get lukewarm before you dye the candle or before you do the list design. It's very important to remember that. Very, very important to remember. Do not, if you was to, like the one you guys did the other day that you did your diamond and you saw, that one you can just dye in that boiled water or hot ink. There's nothing going to happen to it. But if you apply and you did your mixture with the caustic soda and the flour and you spray your list and you did that design, you have to make sure that the dye get lukewarm before putting in your lapa. How do we dye? Now watch me. To do your dyeing or putting your cloth in the dye, you have to be fast, very swift. If you're not fast, what's going to happen? This side going to have more color and that side going to have less color. So this is how it's done. Somebody hold this topper part for you, always for learning purpose. Have your friend hold the top part like this for you, while your hands is down in the top. Okay? Now, your hands is down in the top. Watch me. So this is the top. Yeah, I am ready to dye. I'm receiving my dye from my friend. What I'm doing, see in there? All right, when I get done, turn it around quickly and make sure you put it in there. Make sure the dye soak all in there and leave it in there for at least 10 minutes. Leave it in there for at least 10 minutes. How do we take it up? We look for an edge, the end edge, and we just pull it very hard. That's how you take it up. You pull it off the ink. And what you're going to do, when you get done dyeing, you're going to spread this in a cold place. So when you are done dyeing, spread this in a very cold place. Make sure you spread this in a very, very cold place. Take this and spray in a cold place. Why do you do that? So that the ink can now do the color combination, can now mix with the chemical mixtures, can compound together. You want to make sure you put this in when you get done dyeing your cloth. Don't put it on the hot sun. Put it in a cold place. That's why one of the beauty of where you guys live, you have the big river behind there. You can go right there. That's what you guys are going to be doing all your dyeing. Beautiful day. Cook some nice food. And you ladies just have some fun. Figure will bring music and you'll just have some fun. That's how I want it to be. On the day of your practical dyeing, after you guys have got done with all of your projects, you're going to be doing the dyeing. We're going to have music, food, and just have a good time. Because learning is supposed to be fun. Learning should always be fun. If you learn and it's not fun, you feel you're not happy. If you're not happy learning, it makes the learning more difficult for you. So that's the end of your class for today. I'm going to ask the manager, your director, all questions you guys are going to ask. He's going to send the questions to me and I'll answer your questions individually. Now what I need you guys to do now is to go over what you did last week. So what we did last week is what you're going to go over today. He's going to go over the video. You guys are going to go over it. Some of y'all still doing your stitches. I understand. If you are done with your stitches, you're going to get another part of the cloth, another cloth to do another stitch. We're going to do 2 stitch. And when you get done, the beautiful thing is you're going to create your tie-dye. Then if you're in your tailoring class, you're going to sew that and you let your children wear your work. I want your kids, the first person you want to sew for, well, if you get your sweetheart, I don't know, if you get your sweetheart, maybe you can sew a little shirt for him. But if you have your kids, sew something for your children. That will give you a great excitement when your children wear what you make. And other people will see that when you leave your house and say, I'm going to school, you have reasons of going to school. Okay, guys? Until we meet next week, God bless. You have a great time. It was a beautiful class. All right?